you had a crazy fucking time in your life for like 7 years, I think it was.
Oh my God, I was this big loser and stuff like that. And I turned it around and made a bunch of money. I got really caught up in work. I wanted to make a bunch of money. I wanted these fancy cars and I wanted to have nice houses and I wanted hot blonde bitches. I was working a lot and I moved to the city that I live in now, St. Petersburg. I moved here to be with her and to give her a place close to the school, but she never came over. And it turned out she was cheating on me. And it was like the best time of my life and also the worst time. The best time is because I learned so much about who I am. I also didn't have a phone at this time.
Welcome back to another episode of Experts of the Roundtable. In this episode, I sit down with Devin Zander and talk about his journey from being an alcoholic to generating over $25 million in the coaching space. I hope you enjoy. What is up? I'm here with Devin Zander. Devin, I've known you for a fucking long time now, dude. If you want to let everybody know a little bit about who the hell you are, what you do, and we can kind of guide the conversation from there.
Of course. Well, guys, Mike, pleasure. Thank you for having me on. I'm known as St. Pete's largest drug dealer. The drugs I deal, baby. Dopamine. No, I'm just kidding. Hey guys, yeah, me and Mike been good friends for a long time. Just known each other from marketing circles. We met through the eccentric Robert Wall. But that being said, we're homies. I run a company called Scup, and I'm also an owner in a company called Roseanne. Scup is an e-commerce education company. We've also built a lot of software. We've sold some software. And Roseanne is an SMS marketing company. My background is in marketing, done a lot of sales, mostly on webinars since I started back in like 2011. Now I'm chilling in the best city on earth, St. Pete, Florida. Here today to vibe with my boy Mike, spread some knowledge, put some sunglasses on, play with my pet nibbler and stuff like that, and just have a good old fashioned time. Let's fucking get it.
Love it, dude. I know when it comes to like pitching on webinars and shit like that, you're one of the best people I know to actually like show up. Just the energy that you bring, the engagement that you keep. We've all gotten on webinars and it's just been this monotone voice, just completely boring. And you just know how to bring the fucking heat every single time.
So should I tell people about it?
You
How do you
can.
bring the heat?
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, it's just experience. That's funny. The first time I did a webinar, this was probably like 2011 or 12 or something. But the first time I did it, it was an affiliate webinar. So I was promoting someone else's product and I was so nervous. Like you guys think that you're so nervous, like you stutter or you sound monotone or whatever. I was so nervous. I didn't show up to the call. I was just like, dude, you got this. I'm not getting on that shit, bro. I don't want them to see me or hear me. But I mean, the biggest thing is realizing that you're working with people, right? And people, sure, they buy because of like mechanisms or hooks or unique selling propositions, things like that. But the higher price point things go, I find the more often people buy just because they like a person. And so it's kind of like a superpower, right? If you have two people in a room selling the same product, whoever they're going to like more is who's going to win at the end of the day. Okay. And we have more competition than ever. Like people are constantly being hit in every direction from all kinds of offers. And a lot of people, when I ask them, like at Roseanne, I work with, a lot of clients who are selling like BizOp and stuff like that, or just software, whatever. And I ask them who their competition is. And they always say like it's the people in their niche. So for instance, we sell e-commerce coaching, things like that. These people would be like, oh, well, other e-com coaches are my competition. It's like, no, dude, if you're in the BizOp space, every single person who's selling a BizOp is your competition. And so with that many options out there, and there's so many good offers, so many good mechanisms, like your advantage is having people who like you. And dude, just don't be afraid to be yourself. That's it. And it's kind of something that I learned from pickup too, way back in the day before I had a hot wife. Like learning pickup, it's kind of that abundance mentality. Like you're here to have fun and you have an abundance mentality. Like there's always going to be a next opportunity. So just enjoy this one, have fun with it. And, doing that has always allowed me to loosen up and have good times on webinars. But like, again, people just get better over time. The more reps you get in, the easier it gets too.
Yeah. No, I like that you brought up the pickup stuff because I definitely fully believe that. And one of the main things that we like to encapsulate in this podcast is like going back to where it all started and before it all started. And I know writing emails for you and stuff like that, like you had a crazy fucking time in your life for like 7 years, I think it was, where it was just drinking. And, I can relate to that because I've had that as well. If you
Yeah.
want to let us know a little bit of like what the fuck was going on back then.
Oh, dude. I mean, this is the entrepreneurial struggle, right? People say there's two emotions you have in entrepreneurship. Do you know what they are? The two emotions?
No.
Okay. Well, I think you do. It's either elation, like pure, like, oh my God, top of the fucking world, or misery. And that's what we live as entrepreneurs. There's no in between. Like you have moments where things are going good and you're ecstatic, and then you have the time when things suck and you hate yourself and you start Googling bridges near me. Um, but when I became an entrepreneur in 2011, I was a high school dropout. And I would like to say that it's some sort of story like, oh my God, I was this big loser and stuff like that. And I turned it around and made a bunch of money. But I mean, I was always a smart kid. I got good grades. I was in advanced classes and things like that. So the reason that's important is because I kind of dropped out with a plan to do something like this. It wasn't just like figured out. I mean, I knew that I would make something work, right? But alas, I became an entrepreneur. And then what happened was I got really caught up in work. I wanted to make a bunch of money. I wanted these fancy cars and I wanted to have nice houses and I wanted hot blonde bitches and stuff like that. So I was working a lot and I moved to the city that I live in now, St. Petersburg, which you're obviously very familiar with. And I came here by myself. I didn't know anybody here. I came here because my girlfriend went to the school here, USF St. Pete, but she didn't even live here. She lived in Palm Harbor, and that's like 30 miles away for those who are unfamiliar with their topical Florida geography. But, she was a bit of a jerk. So I moved here to be with her and to give her a place close to the school, but she never came over. And it turned out she was cheating on me. So it was just me in this city. I didn't have any friends here. My girlfriend, who I moved here for, was ignoring me and out, putting other dudes' wieners in her mouth or whatever. And I just went all in on business. It was just me and my dog Brutus living here. And it was like the best time of my life and also the worst time. The best time is because I learned so much about who I am. I also didn't have a phone at this time. And this was a conscious choice. My phone broke. It's funny, my dog Brutus, actually, I put him up on the table and he stepped on my phone and he was like, fuck that. And he kicked that shit off the table and it shattered. But I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't get a new phone and I can just really go all in on work. So I spent about a year just living in St. Pete. My girlfriend would come visit me once in a while, but I would work all day. And then once, like 3 or 2 o'clock came around, it was time to get that Jack Daniels Tennessee honey, which is so disgusting. I can't drink it anymore. So I would start hitting that and I would start working. And then, I would work till like 6 or 7 and I would cry at night. And it was a good old fashioned time. And that went on for like 8 months, just drinking every night, working, and that's when I really got my business off the ground. It was great. I was in affiliate marketing at that time, and I went from making like $50 to $100 a day to by the time I was, like done with my lease there and moving back to Clearwater, I was making like $300 a day, which was really good. And that's like a 3x increase on my income. Profit margins were really good because I wasn't doing any paid ads. I didn't have any employees. It was all affiliate marketing. So I was just, like my expenses were AWeber and stuff like that. And back then it was like $50 a month, bro. You're living like a king, dude. So, dude, fuck, man, yeah, yeah, that's some good times. So simple. But sorry, what's going on?
No, I mean, even then, like $300 a day compared to you were a delivery driver for Jimmy John's, was it?
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Fucking life
slinging,
changing.
slinging
Like,
sandwiches, baby.
yeah,
I was the quickest driver.
like
Oh,
life
yeah. No,
changing.
dude. It's way better. And dude, like $10,000 back then went far too, like not like now, bro. $10,000, dude, you're poor. In St. Pete, you got to make $10,000 a month. Oh, dude, well, enjoy living under the bridge, you pauper. Jeez.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so from there, dude, I moved to Clearwater and then I just really never got out of the drinking. Dude, things actually got worse. I moved to St. Pete like a year and a half later. I moved back because I got back with that girlfriend and then I caught her cheating on me with me this time because I was on a trip in Puerto Rico, but I came home like a day early and I was like, I made that mistake. I'm going to go surprise my girlfriend. So I went to her house and then there's some weird Jeep in the driveway. I'm like, oh man, what's this? And so I knock on the door, and then, she did that thing where she wouldn't let me inside the house. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, it's pretty obvious what's going on here. So I blocked her, and I moved to St. Pete again because I didn't want her to, I knew she would show up at my house if I stayed in Clearwater. So I was like, I just got to move somewhere. And this was like, I was making, actually, at this point, I skipped some steps here, but at this point, I was making a couple $100,000 a year because I got into like, I became a JV manager. For those of you who don't know, like in the affiliate marketing scene, an affiliate manager is someone who basically recruits affiliates for offers. So there were offer owners out there, they wanted affiliates to promote it. And my job was to go out there and find them. And then I got like second tier commission. So every time someone sold their product, I would, as the affiliate manager, get anywhere from 10 to 50% of the sale of the product owner's cut. So that would be like 25% of the sale if I got 50%. And at that point, that was going really well. Like I had multiple months where I had people's affiliate offers do over $1 million in the first month. And that happened like 4 times that year. So after everything that year, that was like my first year making around like $300,000 or something like that. And so I moved to St. Pete. I got a nice place and I was living by myself. But dude, I just got so consumed with work and I was so lonely because again, I moved back to that city where I didn't know anybody. So I mean, I did what I did. I got a girlfriend. Her name was Kelsey. She was cool. I have nothing bad to say about her. I was a terrible boyfriend to her. I would just drink all the time. I was depressed. I was trying to fill a hole and I would cheat on her all the time. And the thing that I found is that I was making all this money, but I was unhappy. So what I tried to do is find happiness through like spending the money, right? So I would end up buying all these fancy cars. I bought like 2 Porsches. I bought an AMG GTS. I bought an AMG C63, and I bought all these cars in the matter of like 5 months because when you're trying to fill a void with money, there are things that will make you like happy because you get that dopamine hit and you're like, yes, this is great. I bought this, but dude, like that wears off in 3-4 weeks. So you're like, okay, well, last time I bought something, I felt good. I'll buy something better this time. And so you're just like, buy. And I'm making like good money. And that year, like 2015, I partnered up with these guys, Rob and Justin, and we launched a product called Ecom Experts Academy. I made over $1 million that year. But meanwhile, the next year, 2016, I was broke, dude. Like I had maybe like $13,000 in cash. And I had probably like $70,000 in credit card bills, something like that. And the reason why is because I'm just trying to buy happiness, bro. I'm flying all over and I'm flying all my buddies with me. I'm getting these sick Airbnbs. We're sitting courtside at sporting events and I'm just paying for everybody, everything. Fancy dinners all the time, bottle service every night. And I'm like, yeah, I got it because I wanted people to like me. And I thought that you had to buy your way to everything. You had to buy your way to friendship. You had to buy your way to happiness. You had to do all this stuff. And dude, I was just so miserable. Can I share my screen on this thing? I will literally, I think I can. I see a share button. I have an image here. I'm going to just airdrop it from my phone. So I'm like a decently in shape guy now, but I got to show you guys because in the peak, I have a photo of the peak of this and I was like 220, 230-ish pounds, dude. I had gained so much weight. I probably won't be able to share my screen because, yeah, it's not going to let me. Whatever. I'll send the image to you and maybe you could put it on in post or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll edit it up here and put it in the middle of us.
just pure like misery, in the moment, things are like, good. Yeah, I'm having these experiences. But when you're alone at the end of the night and you're in bed and you just stare at the ceiling, dude, and you're like, fuck, what the fuck? And I started getting into coke, just drinking constantly, dude, fucking fat, depressed, and just terrible, man. And it's because I was just focused on money. And money's great. Like, I don't want to be one of those people that like, oh, money's a bad thing, but it's like, what do you do with it? Who are you? Because money can't fix you. You need to fix yourself, like with soul searching. And yeah, bro, I mean, long story short, me and that girl, Kelsey, broke up because I cheated on her so much that she started cheating on me. And like, who can blame her at that point? And when we broke up, dude, I decided to just fucking reset my life. I got into a lawsuit too with the the Morris Eye. I'm not gonna say anything else about that, but that really put me into a depression. Nothing ever came from it, but like their lawyer stopped talking to my lawyer. But after that, dude, I was like, fuck, I quit. But here's the thing, is I kept drinking and I kept living my life as if I hadn't quit.
Yes.
So it was I was still doing like some sporting events, sitting courtside or ringside in hockey and stuff like that. But it was mostly just the drinking, dude. I was going out spending like $1,000 to $2,000 a night at these. There wasn't even clubs; it was a bar, like Cask and Ale in St. Pete. And I mean, I just did that for like another 4 or 5 months before I decided to finally get my life in order. And it's crazy. Maybe the universe always has plans for us, but the same exact month that I said I was going to get things in order is when I met my wife at a bar, and that was kinda like the inspiration I needed because I have, like, this lovely girl and she believes in me. So it's like, "Fuck, I gotta believe in myself." And I don't want a repeat of what happened before because, like, Kelsey, she wasn't a bad girl or anything. Obviously, it didn't work out and all that, but I don't think she was a bad person, but me showing up as a bad partner drove her to be a bad person. And uh, like living this coke fueled, alcohol fueled, I'm overweight, dude. I have like heart palpitations all the time from drinking so much. It's like, dude, I gotta just get it together. So I think that was in like the very beginning of 2017. It was December 2016 when I'd met the woman who's now my wife. But yeah, and then in January 2017, I was like, dude, I just gotta get together. I'm gonna start working again. I need to fucking get things back on track. I didn't stop drinking till 2019. So that was quite the struggle, man. Finally got past that. But dude, yeah, it's just all about like what your goals are, I guess. Well, at least for me, what I learned is that happiness doesn't come from the things you buy. Like
Yeah.
money can make you happy, but not in the way that a lot of people think. Like a lot of people, oh, it's like it's the cars, it's the houses. And yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing. Those are nice, right? But the big thing is the people and like the goals, the vision, the values that you have as a person, and then using your money to support that, like to support your family or to support the things you want to do in your community or to make the world a better place, not just to fucking buy yourself a nice pair of Alexander McQueen shoes and to, just do a bunch of nonsense. I don't know. I mean, I just ranted for so long that probably made zero sense. You guys are welcome. Okay. You
I
guys are
mean,
welcome for that. Try to find
I was
wisdom in the
stuck in that
nonsense.
same loop, dude. Fucking when I was selling cannabis, I was making I don't even
Yeah, I
know
saw
how
your
much.
photo
It
on
was
Facebook.
definitely over 6 figures a year. And I was buying all these designer clothes, just and it was just stupid, dude. So I 100% feel you and know exactly where you're coming from. I know one of the big things that you talk about is your mirror moments.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to kind of explain what those are and how you kind of came about those?
Yeah. So there's two like big mirror moments I had in my life, and essentially, guys, a mirror moment is I got this picture of me naked just up on my screen. It's not naked; it's the weight loss thing. I gotta exit that. So I'm like, what am I
Don't send
staring
it to another mastermind.
yeah. I accidentally short side note, guys, there's this mastermind. It's called Nothing Held Back or Fast Forward. And I literally pocket sent a nude photo to it. Um supposed to be for my wife's eyes only. But yeah. Anyway, so mirror moments are something that I came up with, and we all have them, but it's essentially like when you look yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself, like, is this what I'm gonna settle for? Is this what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life? Or do I wanna be a different person? Like, do I accept this, who I am now, and accept that this is probably who I'm gonna be forever? Or do I take responsibility and change? And these are really pivotal moments of your life, and you follow through with these decisions, and that's when the real growth happens. So the first one was when I worked at Jimmy John's still. And like I said, I'd always had plans for myself, but we all fall into the trap of complacency. Like when things are easy, I'm living with my grandma. I'm not paying, I'm living with my grandma. I'm not paying rent. Things are all easy. And I have this job delivering sandwiches at Jimmy John's. And it was supposed to be a really short term thing while I tried to figure out how to build a business. But lo and behold, like 8 months later, and I hadn't done anything. I was just working at Jimmy John's and like going out and partying and trying to bang as many girls as possible. That was in the middle of my pickup phase. But one day I got into a car accident behind the Jimmy John's. Essentially, there was this restaurant next door, Bonefish Grill, and one of the guys was behind. He was trying to back out of his parking spot, and I'm just driving. And I'm like honking my horn, like, bro, stop backing up. I'm behind you. Ah. And then he just backed up his car into me. It wasn't a big deal. There was no damage to either car. It was just kind of scary. You know, car accidents are scary. And so I go into Jimmy John's. I go pick up my Jimmy John's, dude. They just got you going fast because it's that freaky fast delivery. So you're in, you're out, you got to go. I take my sandwich, I deliver it, I come back, and my manager, his name was Kyle, his douchebag. I was like, he's like, dude, Devin, I got to talk to you. I'm like, okay, so let's talk. And we just talked right in the front of the store, like right in front of everyone. And it wasn't like a big deal, but he was just, like, hey, I heard that you were driving recklessly and you hit some car. Like, this is your warning. And dude, I couldn't take it. I was like, dude, are you joking me? This guy hits my car and you're threatening to fire me because that guy wasn't paying attention and he hit me. Okay, awesome. So I was, I think 19 at the time. When you're 19, you're not cool headed, bro, because you're like raging with testosterone. So I got so angry and I was like, oh, I don't think I yelled at him or anything. I can't even remember, but I know I punched the Jimmy John's menu. It was like the stupidest thing ever. Like, oh, I'm so tough. I punched the menu. But I just couldn't. I was so like, are you serious? Like, this is how you're going to treat me, dude? I didn't do anything. This guy hits me. So I go to the bathroom and this was my first mirror moment. And it wasn't like a concept or anything at the time. I was just like, I was trying to cool off. So I go in there and I'm like putting some water on my face. I'm like, dude, I'm going home. Like, this is so stupid. Blah, blah. But I look myself in the mirror and I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Like, you're 19. You don't have a high school degree. You're not going to college. You lied to your grandma about the fact that you got a GED. Your grandma thinks you got one, but you were just lying to her. Like, what are you doing? So during that moment, I'm just like, dude, like we have to, either we're doing this forever or we're going to go take control of our life, because I'm delivering sandwiches at Jimmy John's. I'm making like $3 an hour and then you get tips. And then I have to deal with my manager and whoever else like yelling at me just at their whim. Oh, someone hit my car. I'm at fault. And the dude was kind of racist too. I mean, I'm white, so it's not like he was racist against me because he was a white dude too. But he was racist to other people. This guy's just fucking dick. I'm like, okay, so what are you doing? You can do this forever? And that's when I decided, like, nope, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna start my own business. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm gonna figure it out. And that was my first mirror moment. It was like that time. And the second, which was great, obviously that led to good things. Like, mirror moments always lead to good things. But the second one was when I was back in 2019. I had a cleaning lady who came over every week. She might have come every other week. I'm pretty sure it was every week.
We
But
put this picture up too.
oh
There
yeah, like of me drinking, the one
Yeah.
at me at Austin's bachelor party.
Bad.
Yeah, that's a bachelor party. That's an excuse. That's just a funny photo. Okay, but that was in 2019 too, actually. So, anyways, every time the cleaning lady came, I would have to leave the house, and I didn't know why. I just felt so uncomfortable being there when she was there. Which is, I've had cleaning ladies since like 2014. So, and this is the only time this has ever happened where I was like, usually I'm like, I have to be there because I want to make sure they don't steal anything. But with this particular one, I'm like, I can't be here. So I gave it some thought, over time. And I finally realized that the reason why I didn't want to be there is because I was so ashamed of my drinking. Because I had a desk, like we all do that we work at. I had a little trash can under my desk, like a little one, maybe like this tall, like a 1 foot tall trash can. She'd come like every Thursday, and every Thursday, without fail, it would be filled with 7 new pints of Jim Beam. Yes, your boy is a sophisticated drinker, only the classiest, finest bourbon for me. But, like one of those bourbon bottles that's like this big or whatever. I would drink one of those every single night, the whole thing. My wife did not help me. And this is how I got so fat. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd already started to lose some weight at this point, but I was still like 190. So the reason why I couldn't face her was because I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed of the alcohol in my wastebasket. So again, this is like the second mirror moment I had, and it was many years later, but I had to look myself in the mirror, and I cried because I'd been trying to quit drinking for a while. I wanted to ever since I moved to Austin, which was in January of 2018. That only lasted like 6 months, and then I came back, baby. But I've been wanting to quit drinking since then. Dude, it was so difficult. And when I realized that I was ashamed to be in my own house because of what people thought, I had all these thoughts like, so what's going to happen if I keep drinking? Well, I might die. My wife will probably leave me. I'll probably lose everything I've worked for my entire life. I probably end up in jail. I might end up living in a ditch and all this. So I had all these things, and I didn't think about it so nonchalantly. Like in the moment, this was a very like powerful thing, and I was like really moved by it to tears in not a good way. I'm not like, oh, I'm so excited to quit drinking. No, it's like, oh, I'm so scared of what might happen. And I'm so scared that the alcohol has so much control over me that I won't be able to stop. And that this isn't just something that might happen. It's literally going to be the future. So with that, I finally said, like, fuck it. I have to do this. And it was really tough. And it took like 3 months. And I would constantly go and I would buy alcohol. I would go to the little place, like Sunset Liquors right next door to my house. And they'd see me walk in and they knew because those little pint things or whatever, they keep them behind the counter. So they knew they'd see me, they'd grab it, they'd grab a Pepsi and they'd be like, here you go, Devin. Which is like when the liquor store knows that much and they get it ready for it and they see you
Yeah.
walk in, that's not a good sign, bro.
No.
So I went back, over a while, like probably for that first year, I'd go back and I would buy it. And I would get home, I'd cry a little bit. My wife was never home when these occasions happened. But I would end up pouring it out and I would overcome, but it was so difficult. And sometimes I would even put it in my mouth and I would spit it out. Oh, it's just like my wife does. And I don't know. I hope this isn't a Christian podcast. So yeah, and I finally overcame, dude, and, that was you don't realize how much alcohol fucks you up. Like, I didn't know I was so fat because of alcohol, and I didn't know that everything was so hard. Dude, I was letting my business partners down all the time, too. I remember
Yeah.
many times crying. I'd hit up Matt and Austin, and be like, "You guys, I know that our webinar's today, but, like, we can't do it. I didn't write it. I've been drinking. Like, I didn't do any of the work." And that happened, like, multiple times. So it's just a struggle, man, but the mirror
Yeah.
moments, just like looking yourself in the mirror and realizing that you refuse to settle for this, like really having a heart to heart with yourself, but you have to commit. Like that's the thing. Because if you commit and then you let up, dude, you're just going to repeat that cycle. There's no half measures when it comes to these transformations, when it comes to like getting in shape or building a business or quitting alcoholism or being a better partner or whatever. There's no half measures. Or even with being vegan, dude. I was vegan for like 5 years, which is totally stupid, not worth doing. But there's no half measures. You have to go all in. So when you make these decisions, dude, it's all about full commitment. You look yourself in the mirror, you fucking commit, and then you hold yourself to it.
Yeah, no.
I
So like kind of a little bit of my drinking issues is I had the same problem, man. I was getting blackout drunk
That's right, baby.
probably 3, 4 times a week. This
Yeah.
was after my divorce in 2020. And just every single week, I was just drinking. I would have alcohol throughout my workday, thinking that I was gonna like help me talk to people better and shit like that. And dude, it was the dumbest shit. And the moment that really kind of changed everything for me was I was out with Rob and
Alright.
Dylan's ex girlfriend that was like the stripper, and it
Dylan
was her birth.
Pilati?
Yeah, it was her birthday and we were at Tryst and we just kind of seen that they were there with a group of people. And there was this other girl that I was talking to on like, I matched with her on Tinder and this is the first time I seen her in person. We were like, what the fuck? Like, what's up? And shit like that. And Rob's like, yo, dude, I'm going to bounce. And I was like, well, I got the code to your front door, so I'll just sleep at your house later. And dude, I have no idea what happened. I had a few drinks at Tris. Somebody handed me a shot. Like an hour later, somebody handed me a beer. And I never drink beer, but I started drinking it.
That's gross.
And all of a sudden, it's like 2:30 in the morning. I'm walking down Central Ave and I get to fucking Grassroots and I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't park here. I
You're like,
parked
"Let
at
me
the
in."
house. Then my phone died and I'm like, oh my God, I got to find my way back to Rob's. And I don't remember anything
God,
after
dude.
that. I just remember I called one of my employees and then I called the girl that I was talking to that I broke up with that kind of hated me at the time. And dude, I woke up at 4:45 in the morning, 30 minutes away from my house because I still lived in Fort Myers at this time. So somehow I drove
What?
from St. Pete all the way to, I think I made it to like Bonita Springs or like somewhere around there.
Bro. That's
And I woke
wild.
up, my car was still in drive. I was in an Arby's parking lot up against the curb, so my car like wasn't going anywhere. And I had this thought. I was like, if I don't fucking stop this, dude, I'm either gonna die, I'm gonna kill somebody, or everything in my life is just going to like burn itself down. And it's
Bro, that is
it's
wild.
yeah,
Oh my
it
God.
is.
You're so lucky to be alive. And then
Yeah.
outside of that, lucky you didn't hurt anybody else. And lucky you didn't go to jail. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. I got the toll invoice because I went through the Sun
Yeah, you,
Pass.
you see
When it,
yourself in the toll photo. You're like this you're like outside the car window. You're just like looking up at the toll booth, licking them off.
it's crazy because I had 3/4 of a tank of gas, and when I woke up, I had my gas light was on. So somehow I was driving a Chevy Cruze at the time, so I got like 40 miles a gallon. And I like a few days later, I started getting like these flashbacks of what happened. And at one point, I looked down and I was going 105 miles an hour in my car. And dude, it's crazy what alcohol can do. Unless I was
Oh yeah,
drugged,
dude.
I feel like I was partly drugged
It
with them
sounds like you might have been partly drugged.
gave
Yeah.
me one of those drinks.
But dude,
Thing
it's
I,
like the stories we tell ourselves, like about how you were saying you thought that it would help you talk to clients better. I had the same thing, bro. I was like, yeah, I'm more creative. I write better copy. Like I loosen up and the thoughts flow freely. It's like, nah, dude, that's not you talking. That's the alcohol. You're an alcoholic. You have problems.
and I used to justify it because I'd be like, dude, the people on Madison Avenue back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, like
The
they
madness.
were drinking all day. Like, have you ever seen Mad Men? Like, they're fucking getting lit all day long. Of course, it's gonna help me write better
Martinis
copy.
all
It's
day,
gonna help me
baby.
sell better and all this shit.
Yeah, that's funny. Like we always try to emulate these TV shows. For me, it was Suits. I was trying to
Yeah.
emulate Harvey, and that's why I drank bourbon and scotch because I saw like he would drink it, and I'm like, damn, bro, this guy's so badass. Holy shit.
You went through I think it was like a week where you're like, you know what? We're all gonna dress like suits. We're gonna wear suits, and you all would
Oh, and
just
like,
come into grassroots with your fucking brand new tailored suits on.
yeah, and that was in 2021 too, I think. Yeah, it was the tail end of 2021 because that was when we had gotten our office at Expanse. Yeah, dude, and I lost one of those suits, bro. I don't know what happened. Me and my
Really
wife were looking for it. I wore it to a wedding like 2 months ago, and then I tried to bring it to Greece with me, and it's just nowhere to be seen. I
crazy.
don't know.
So for those watching, like when it comes to the business side of everything, like what do you think for a coach and agency owner? What's like the main driver that they need to focus on in order to like start growing their business, even like an affiliate marketer?
I mean, dude, honestly, the way things have changed because the markets have changed so much. I feel like these past 3 or 4 years, they've changed more than they had in the past 20 or 30 years, dude, because there's like 2 huge driving factors, right? You have like AI, which is probably the biggest one. So
Yeah.
AI has popped up and it's like all these little barriers to entry that used to make it so the niche growed slowly. And by niche, I mean like online marketing as a whole. It used to grow very slowly because there weren't things like ClickFunnels, there weren't things like Shopify. And so you'd have to do everything custom or use like WordPress, and it was complicated, right? But then things like ClickFunnels came around and it became a little bit more saturated. And with that, you need to be better, right? Now AI's around, it's like that to the extreme, and it does videos for you, it writes scripts, it does all these crazy things. So even though most people really aren't that good, the fact is there's just way more of them. And even though they're not as good, the message is still diluted because now you have a million people saying it. And then we have, companies telling you to basically steal other people's funnels or hack them, if you will, which is fine. I have no disrespect towards those guys. And like we both have their awards behind us right now, I see. But it's diluted things and it's made it infinitely more difficult to succeed. And I would say there's 2 really big things you need to focus on, 3 actually, but one of them is more of just a mental or just personal control kind of thing. Number 1 is the offer itself. But when I say that, I'm not just saying like, oh, you have to sell a good product. What I'm saying is you need to find a way to really differentiate your product significantly. So that could be like your USP or whatever. And the USP isn't just about like how you angle the product, right? It's also about what makes your product so unique itself. And with that, it's just like focusing as much as possible on getting like, at least in the niche I sell in, which is opportunity, like a done for you aspect to it. Harnessing AI, just making it as much of a no brainer as possible. And I'm not saying you should go out and do that like, oh, work with us. And if we don't get you results, it's free and we'll keep working with you until you get results. No. I'm just saying, like, how can you make an offer so good? And this is just, it's basic stuff, right? But how can you make an offer so good that people feel dumb saying no? And the one way that we've started doing this, and I learned this from Mike Balmaceda, he was kind enough to get on a call with me and share this for free. Um, in his company or the offer he CMOs, they do like 50 million or something a year. I don't know the exact number, so I could be way off, but it's a huge crypto offer. And what he told me was use the neighbor test. And what the neighbor test is you essentially list out the 6 to 8 steps that it takes to succeed with your offer, right? So for us, it was like find a niche, do this, do this, do this, do that. You list them all out in an Excel spreadsheet. And then to the right, you just list ways you can solve that problem, which get more and more complex to fulfill, but they also become better and better. So for like finding products to sell in a store, for instance, it could be like show them training on how to find products, do a monthly call where we show them how to find products, do a weekly call where we show them how to find products, release a software that helps them find products. And then at the very end, it's literally like us doing research. We find proven to sell products that have proof, and then we give those products to them and say, hey, this product's proven to sell, you sell it. So they don't have to do any work. We just give them the products, right? Like going through that process for each step it takes to succeed with your offer, and then finding the best way to fulfill. And when you see it, you might be like, dude, this is impossible. There's no way I can fulfill this. But it's like, it's so good. And that's when you know, like, okay, this is pretty good. I should probably go with that. And I should make that a part of my offer. So you would make that like a bonus or something that goes with your offer. It's really just going above and beyond. You have to realize what was good 3 years ago, what was good 2 years ago, it's not enough anymore. Okay. People expect a lot, especially with AI. The second thing is, something that we touched on at the beginning of this call, but that is just having a personal brand of some kind. I know there's a lot of people who say it's good, and there's a lot of people who say it's not good. But what I will say is, easiest way to get someone to buy from you is if they just already like you. If they like you, they're going to be way more likely to buy from you. So that's a big thing. And then the third thing is just be consistent. Don't switch lanes a million times. Don't try 10,000 different offers. Don't do 10,000 different things. Pick something and stick with it. And just go in until you've gone so far in that you can't scale that particular thing anymore. And dude, like scale the amount that you can scale something is a lot higher than people think. People are like, oh, my niche is saturated or whatever. And then meanwhile, there's people like publishing.com doing $100 million with their BizOp offer,
Yeah.
with this super simple webinar funnel. Like, oh yeah, your niche is saturated, yet these guys are in the same niche and they're doing 100 million and you're doing 500,000. Got it.
Yeah, no, I think like the exercise that you just talked about is really good, because if once you can figure out all of those, like being able to structure your actual offer and being able to like position what you're selling it's going to be a lot stronger. I read
Oh,
this book.
dude. Sorry, go on.
I read this book called Monetization, and he talks about doing the 1050s, which it's identifying 50 end results end results, reasons to be excited about, identify 50 problems your solution solves, identify 50 benefits your solution offers, identify 50 reasons
Yeah.
why your solution is better than all the others, identify 50 reasons to buy, identify 50 reasons not to buy, identify 50 solutions to their reasons not to buy, identify 50
Holy shit, that's a lot, bro.
like reasons to trust and believe in your solution, identify 50 reasons to buy now and not later, and then identify 50 bad things that will happen if they don't buy. And he's like, you'll be able to list the first 20 in each category extremely easy. But then when it comes to like 21 to 50, that's where you'll start really getting the gold and being able to figure out like how you need to position your marketing, your message, your offer, everything.
That's seriously the good stuff, dude. I mean, I've heard that too. I haven't gone that in depth. I probably should. I gotta try that out sometime.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll say too is about, what I had mentioned about the 6 to 8 steps it takes to fulfill your offer. Like just so you guys understand, like when you're presenting that, it's really powerful in your pitch because what's gonna happen is people understand that okay, there's 8 steps to succeed with this, but they have objections. And when you find ways to fulfill or automate each one of those steps with such a crazy offer, you're systematically breaking down every objection and positioning your offers that way instead of just saying, "Oh, I have a course and then I'm going to guess to what the bonuses are." Right? It's so much more powerful and it makes it so much easier to buy. And if you're trying to sell on cold traffic, especially at a price point over like $2,000, that's the way to do it.
That's where most people fuck up is they just try to pack these products or these offers with so many fucking bonuses, but when you look at it, like the bonuses are just they're like dust on the bottom of a shoe. Like they're nothing. And really being able to understand like what are the objections that they're going to have around buying this, which you guys
Yeah.
do extremely well, and then creating a product, a checklist, a fucking single video, just something that will handle each of those objections and letting them know like, look, I know you're probably thinking like I need to be a fucking marketing wizard, but guess what? We have an AI software that you can answer 3 or 4 questions, and then it writes your ads for you, or it creates your graphics for you and shit like that. And
Yeah. And then
like
you
you
pair
guys do
stuff
that
like that with a
extremely
good
well when creating offers.
Dude, you pair that with a good refund guarantee and you can't lose, baby.
Love that. Well, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on here. I know we talked about a lot of shit. If there's anything that like one piece of advice that you would give somebody, like what would that one piece of advice be?
I think, yeah, the most valuable thing I've learned is to just see it through. You know, the reason people fail, and I've coached tens of thousands of people at this point, and I've helped hundreds of consulting clients that are doing like 6 or 7 figures in their businesses and things like that. But the reason people fail is just because they don't stick with something long enough. We've had webinars that have done up to like $2 million in a single month, but that same webinar made like $0 for the first 90 days, right?
Yeah.
And usually, if something doesn't work for like a week, people give it up. They're like, "Oh, dude, well, I've tried a week. I've split tested it 3 times. Well, I'm giving up."
$50 on ads and it's not getting me
Yeah.
$6,000 in sales, bro.
Well, dude, even for that webinar that we did 2 million a month, we did over $20 million on that offer. For the first few months, we had to spend tens of thousands of dollars, and we were in the negative. Now we weren't like super negative to the point where we made no sales. We were making money on it, but we were also losing a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
But if you want to succeed, sometimes you have to take risks. Is it possible that something works out of the gate? Yes, but that's like a 1 in 100 chance. Like honestly, realistically. So you need to have perseverance. You need to see things through. And it's the same in so many aspects of life. Like, dude, why is it that I was overweight for so long? I wanted a 6 pack my whole life. So why did I not get one until I was 30 years old? And it's the same thing. I just gave up too quickly, you know? Oh, I've dieted for 3 weeks and I'm not ripped yet, even though I need to lose like 40 pounds to have a 6 pack with how big I am. Like, dude, but if I just stuck through it, I would have gotten the results. And eventually I did. And this happened everywhere. And something I learned is that the results, they're not as close as you think, but they're not as far as you think either. And a good way of looking at that is I tried for like almost 20 years to get a 6 pack, right? And I expected results in like a month, but that never happened. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, dude, it's going to take me years and years of work to get a 6 pack. I've been trying for 20 years and I still don't have one. It's so much work. But the reality is once I went all in and I was consistent, it happened in like 5 months.
Yep.
It's not as far as you think. And this is for good relationships, for fitness, for your mind, for your business. if you go all in, like 100% balls to the wall in, and you stick with it, it's gonna happen.
Yep.
That's the best result. Like that's better than any marketing hack. That's better than any funnel. Just pure dedication, but you must be all in. Don't kid yourself and say that your 2 to 3 hours of work per day is all in. No, no, no. We're talking about living, breathing, eating it, sleeping it, right? Do it.
And
Do it for a couple years and then you're fucking set, bro. Boom.
yeah, and then
That's it.
to add a little bit to that, like if you are doing it and you've done it for like 5, 6 months and you're still not getting results, really do like analyze what you're doing, because if
Yep.
you're not on this constant feedback loop on your input, output, analyze, input, output, analyze, like you're going to keep going on this cycle,
Yep.
and you're not going to be able to get there, and you're going to be wondering why. So like they say, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yep.
Just like don't give up and make sure you're actually reading the data and doing what you need to do in order to make the shifts and the pivots that you need to make.
Yeah. That's the perfect addition to what I said, dude, because that's the truth. Like if you do the same fucking thing, like if my version of going all in was eating like shit, right? But no, I mean, if you're, launching a funnel or whatever and it's not working, it's not gonna a lot of times it's not gonna magically work. When I say we tried that for 3 months, we edited the webinar a ton of times, we edited the ads a bunch of times, and we eventually got it working, right? Like
Yep.
you have to adapt. So I think that your point is excellent, dude.
Love it. Perfect. Appreciate you being on here.
We'll go out the same way we came in. Sunglasses on, baby. Mike, always a pleasure, bro. I hope to see you downtown soon. Maybe you could come see Alien with me and Rob at 4 p.m. today.
We are actually going to a comedy show at a winery out here.
Well, that sounds sick too. I support that decision. All right, bro. Thanks for having me, dude. It's fun.
course.
Pleasure as always. I hope we can do it again sometime soon. I'll see you, dude.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Experts of the Roundtable. If you enjoyed today's conversation and want to stay up to date with more insights from industry leaders, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and get notified when new episodes drop. Your support means the world to me. So consider sharing this to someone that, could benefit from it. And if you want to connect with me on social media so that way you could be part of the conversation, head over to facebook.com/Real Michael Kelly. And until next time, stay hungry, stay humble, and hustle hard.